Let's get right into the video. So I wanted to see how my DJI Air 2S would do with active track on a vehicle. So I set it up to follow, and here we go. It starts out, we're going pretty good. I'm a little worried about the shadows, and it looks like it's going to do well here, and then all of a sudden it stops and it decides to look at that car, that white car in the driveway right next to my house. So that was a little crappy, and I was like, I barely started and it's already starting to look pretty bad. I didn't think it was going to do all that well. So then we fired it back up again, and I'm in follow mode still, and it's doing pretty well, and we're going down the road, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. This is the first time I had tried it, so this is kind of new for me with the active track. It's doing pretty well, don't mind the driving. It's going right along here on follow. I'm a little bit worried about the shadows that I see because I did film this early in the morning, so the sun was low in the sky. But it appears to do well through the shadows. Here's another big one coming up. Nothing really happened, just followed right along. It's doing pretty well. So far, I'm very impressed with what it can do. Driving just a little short square right around my block. It's going pretty well here. Take another right-hand turn. Doing well. Looks pretty good. Coming into a big shadow here. Still following along. I'm not driving that fast. I'm maybe going like 15 to 20 miles an hour. So well within the speed of the Air 2S, which I think on sport mode can go up to 42 miles per hour or 40 miles per hour, something like that. So as I coming around here to finish the 4 turns, and I decided I'm going to try and see how it works out on parallel mode. So just here in a few seconds, I'm going to switch it into parallel mode, and you'll see that it's going to start to drift to the right, which is good because that's what I wanted it to do. And so now we're in parallel mode, and it's looked like it's doing well. It's kind of coming off to the right a little bit. And then I'm going to make the turn here, which is going to make it really easy for it. So now I notice that there's a tree there, and I'm like, all right, that's okay. And then it's looking pretty good here. And then we're coming up, and we got a big tree here, and it looks like it's going to work, and then it doesn't, and it zeroes in on that silver car right there. Not exactly sure why, but it just zeroed in on that silver car, and there was not much I could do about it. So now I reset it, and we get going once again, and we're looking good. It's a little bit behind me, but it's looking pretty good. So it handles that tree right there pretty well because the car is kind of visible. The little palm tree right there, it handles that pretty good. Again, we're coming into that big shadow from earlier. Looks great, doing really well. And then we're looking good. I'm like, all right, it works really well here. And then we hit that tree, does no problem. And then all of a sudden, that little tiny tree there, it lost it. And it focused in on that silver car in that driveway. Not exactly sure why, but that was the end of the test, and I decided I didn't want to do this anymore because if it's just going to keep losing it, obviously the trees are presenting a problem for it. So I stopped doing that. So then I decided I wanted to try it out on the open road where there were no trees around to impact the parallel mode. So I set it up a little bit in front of the car, and I wanted to see if it would stay in front of the car as I started to move. Unfortunately, as I got going, it immediately kind of ended up being parallel with the car. So you'll see here in a second when I get the car rolling. And here we go. So now we're rolling, and it kind of just immediately just ended up being parallel with the car. I'm slowly accelerating. I got up to about 30 miles per hour on this test, and it's doing really well. There's no trees coming up. I made sure that this whole flight path here was treeless, so there would be no trees to lose it on. I was a little bit worried. You'll see in a few moments there's going to be some cars that are zipping down the street. Here it falls a little bit behind. I'm not sure why, but you see the cars there. I was a little worried that it was going to pick up another car and fly away, and I would be chasing it down. Luckily, that did not happen. More cars go by. Back there, though, it did fall behind a little bit, but then it sped right back up and got even with me again. So overall, I say that Active Track is pretty good, unless there's some trees. I was impressed with Active Track for vehicles, but hopefully DJI can do a better job in the future of having it not lose objects behind the trees. Thanks for watching the video.